What's up, guys? Earl at Sumo Bully Kennels back at you with another episode of Dog Talk, right? And I got a real special episode to you for you guys tonight. In terms of raw feeding, we hear so much about it on YouTube. People talk so much about it, and I have a special guest for you guys. My guy Lemuel, who I became friends with this dog stuff, and that's the beauty of this dog community. It connects us. It allows us to help others to help us, so forth and so on. But before we get into all this episode, let me first take a moment to say thank you to all our viewers, our subscribers. For those of you guys who reach out to me to the side, I truly appreciate it. Love that you guys are loving the content and that we can provide value for the community. So I want to thank you, honestly. For you guys who watch our stuff and follow our stuff and have not liked or subscribed, do me a favor. Let's do a gentleman's agreement. It costs you nothing to subscribe. It costs you nothing to watch or like this episode. So let's do a handshake agreement right now. Let's shake hands, and that way we can move forward. Okay, so without further ado, guys, let's get into this raw dog feeding thing that everyone talks so much about. There's so much conversation about it. And to be honest with you, I became a believer of it. I started with kibble, the best kibble I can get, to mixing in raw dog food 50-50, to liking it and then trying it full raw to a point where all we feed now is raw. And I really like it. However, there are some things that may not go your way, right? We see all these videos of dogs chomping down whole chicken thighs and legs and stuff like that. And the dogs do love it. However, I would advise to be careful. And if you're watching this episode and you're a raw dog food proponent for your dogs or kibble, whatever the case may be, I think this episode will really help provide a lot of clarity of the benefits and the risk, right? So without further ado, today I have a special guest, a person who's become my friend over social media, right? His name is Lemuel, right? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Lumel.
Yeah. Okay.
Lumel.
Okay. Lumel, how did you hear about us? Actually, how did you find us?
Well, I actually found you on YouTube. So I was actually researching how to start a kennel.
Okay.
Right. So I had punched in how to start a kennel on YouTube, and I actually went through a couple videos, actually several videos, and I actually ran into yours. And yours is actually one of the most thorough, right? The spreadsheet, I loved how you brought out the spreadsheet. But I know you say some people get bored with classroom time. I was all into it, man. I was looking at those numbers. I was really digging into it. I was like, oh man, this guy's really thorough. He's breaking it down, to a T, and not sugarcoating anything, right? So that's originally how I ran into you, was, via YouTube. And then I just loved the content that you were putting out, right? So all your videos that I was going through, they were really thorough, and it definitely was beneficial for people that's going to be starting off and people that's been in, for a while as well. So yeah, that's how I actually ran into.
Man, I'm glad you said that, because honestly, I ask a few people, like, listen, man, I'm going to put out stuff, everyone can talk about the pedigrees, right? That's online. You can see it. Everyone's going to talk about this and that and the progesterone, right? That's those to me are tasks, right? But however, people, when they talk about getting started in this thing, when I started watching videos, I said, okay, cool. When I see the title, how to get started, they tell you, generally speaking, how to get started with a female or a male. I'm like, okay, dude, where's the numbers? What are we talking about here, right? And is it even worth my time if it's not just a hobby or a passion project? And from my own experience of making the leap and the investment, because I believe in this and I love doing this. I said, you know what? I'm going to do you a solid. I'm going to do one better. I'm going to really break it down, you know, to where you can adjust that spreadsheet to whatever fits your budget, right? Whatever lane you can play in, or whatever, you know, price point you could start at, the spreadsheet is relevant. You just change the numbers around. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And it was discouraging at first because, to be honest with you, I put that content out and it gets the lowest views. It does. I put out a video about a dog and pedigree and, you know, talking about the points of a dog. And it's next day, it's like instant gratification for me, right? But what did I really contribute? To me, it was like, you know, it's like empty calories, right? I didn't contribute anything. And so I'm so glad that you actually said about the spreadsheets, because that means a lot to me, you know, for me to sit here and put in hours for that spreadsheet for free to give to everyone to understand what we're getting into, to provide a help for the community, to aid and inspire somebody who wants to get started, to understand what it really is so that they're more prepared financially, mentally, you know, just everything, life planning, right? Okay, so I'm so glad that you found us that way and that you like those videos. Man, thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
So, you know, for those viewers who don't understand the dynamics of our relationship and how we started developing this friendship, why did you reach out to us?
Well, originally, I reached out to you obviously because of the content that you're putting out, right? So, I viewed you as somebody that, is really thorough, has, knowledge of the industry. You're really open as well, right? So, I really appreciated how open you are as far as like letting people know the pros and the cons, of getting started, because even in that spreadsheet, you broke it down so people can know the costs that are associated with, starting a kennel, right? Because sometimes we think, oh man, we can get this dog and everything will work out all peachy. It doesn't work that way. There's so many situations that arise that, if you don't go through it, you're not going to be prepared for it, right? So one thing you mentioned across the board, you got to be, obviously have the space, be financially prepared, have a plan, right? So when I was looking at the spreadsheet and you going over the information as far as how to start a kennel, I was like, oh man, so this guy has a lot of knowledge. I love the information that you're actually putting out there, not expecting anything in return. I mean, you're giving this information for free, and I really appreciated that. And I had ran into a situation, with my current dog, my boy, right? So I had reached out to you kind of for some advice, and you were able to, help me and share some advice on the situation, which I'm sure we're going to probably get into.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened with my, he's just turned 1, right? My male bully. So that's why I reached out.
Yeah, when you reached out to me, it was really heartfelt because, I'll be 48 this year. I've been a dog person all my life. I've lost a lot of dogs. And so for me, I was so just wrapped up in what you reaching out to me and trusting me. And I reached out to some colleagues as well, that they didn't really have an answer either. However, with my experience of what I've done for my dogs, I gave you the best guidance that I could, in hopes to provide you the best, assistance. And obviously we all hope for the best outcome. So to me, sometimes tragedy brings good things and good relationships and connections, right? And out of that tragedy, it makes us stronger and better at everything that we do, and to understand the value and appreciation of other people, right? And the things that we take for granted like this daily, when it could turn on a dime, and then it just turns your life upside down. And it's a tough one to swallow, but we have to be strong, right?
Exactly.
And so when you reached out to me, it really meant a lot to me because I felt like that you trusted me to provide you some kind of guidance, some kind of help, and I gave you the best help that I could. And I'm not a veterinarian, however, I've had hot dogs all my life. You know, it's that way. So this episode really is centered about raw dog feeding and all the hype behind it. You know, you go online and you see these companies now. You know, corporate America has shifted to raw dog feeding, right? And they're selling pounds of raw dog food mixed or blended, whatever the case may be, frozen or pre-cooked. You know, anywhere from $5 to $7 to $8 a pound. But before we really get into that, your boy is an XL.
XL, correct.
Okay, so you like the XLs.
I do. I like XLs. I would say standard. My main, that I'm really into is the XLs. Second would be the standard.
Okay. I like XLs. I like the standards. I like the standard classic, and I do like the pockets. I feel like they exhibit a lot of the type, and we are in the bully lane. However, that's not our focus tonight. And I just wanted to ask that. So, can you explain to our viewers what happened with your boy?
So, I've done a lot of research as far as like whether to serve kibble or raw. So, the same thing that you've mentioned earlier, as far as I've tried, the raw, mixing it, with kibble, trying kibble, trying raw, but I decided, to go with raw. And, I had done research online, looked at different videos, and I was feeding my boy, raw, right? But one of the things that, wind up happening was...
Okay, hold on. Before you get into that, when you say raw, just raw meat or raw veggies, like what kind of?
It's all of it,
Okay.
right? So everything was raw. So it was raw meat, raw veggies.
Okay.
He had the eggs, organ meats.
Mm-hmm.
I would serve him all of that, right? So it was strictly raw. Everything
Awesome.
was raw. I had looked at some videos where they were serving the full quarters,
Mm-hmm.
the drumsticks, and that's what I was giving to my boy, right? So I was giving him the drumsticks, the quarters. One day he just started acting. He was off, right? The way he was acting. Normally he's really energetic. He has a lot of energy, really playful. But he was really kind of acting kind of like lethargic, kind of moving slow. And I realized something was wrong. So I had immediately the next day took him into the vet. And the vet was asking if he was around any dogs that were in heat. Maybe that can be the issue. I said, no, that's not the case. They were asking if he had parvo. I said, no, he's up to date on all his vaccinations. So I said, something's wrong. So I wound up having them run some x-rays, do some blood work. And they actually came back and they showed me the x-ray. He had some bones in his stomach. And just to let you guys know that everything I fed him was raw, uncooked. So a lot of people mention, oh, well, if you maybe cook it, there could be some negative effects, as far as serving cooked, but we never gave him any cooked.
So
cooked.
with the cooked, in terms of actual chicken bones, what people would say, and it's true, is that a cooked bone, because it goes through that boiling process, when the dog bites it, it splinters.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates these sharp, versus a raw bone. When it breaks, it has all the cartilage and the bone marrow. It's soft. So that's exactly what you were referencing. But go ahead.
Yeah. So with us, it was just raw. We never cooked him food. He hasn't had any scraps off the table. It was just strictly like raw food, uncooked. But when the x-rays came back, it showed the bone in his stomach. It looked like kind of like a cross. So the bones didn't pass through. So they proposed he needs to have surgery immediately. Try some tricks as far as like to see if it would pass through. Because I heard about maybe it's like some bread what sometimes kind of like hold it to help it
Mm-hmm.
pass through. Tried that, but it didn't work. So we had to take him in for surgery, and they wind up having to open him up and take out the bones, and yeah, it was very difficult, right? Not just from a monetary standpoint, because we're cost around $6,000 for the surgery, but actually watching him suffer, right, and watching him go through a pain like that. That was the difficult part, right? Because he was in a lot of pain and he's lost a lot of weight from the surgery.
Yeah, you were telling me about that and in the pictures
Oh,
you
over
sent me.
over 20 pounds.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, he lost over 20 pounds. Um, couldn't keep down his food. So, after the surgery, remember we talked, and
Mm-hmm.
he had a hard time keeping down any type of food. Even when you try to give it to him via the blended turkey baster, for a while, he just wouldn't take down the food. He wouldn't take down the medicine as well. That would help as
Mm-hmm.
far as aiding his recovery. Because, obviously he's in so much pain, he just spit it right back out. So this went on for a while. So, I mean, now he's eating a little bit more. So he's eating a little bit more. So there is a win there. Really picky as far as like appetite wise. But now he is starting to eat a little bit more. He's still like really, really skinny.
Okay.
But the positive is he hasn't been throwing up. I mean, he did maybe like 3 days ago, but the past couple days, he hasn't been throwing up. So he's been keeping down his food,
That's
right?
a big one in terms of nutrition in, and you're gonna see it on the back end. This is why looking at your picking up your dog's poo is so important, because you'll see that poo and you'll know right away when something's wrong.
Mm.
Or in his case, if he's been eating now, you know, he probably can't take the same amount of food that he can before, but you're gonna see his stool, and the better that stool looks to regular, then you know the recovery process is truly happening. So, I don't know if you've observed that.
I have. So sometimes it's kind of like diarrhea, but it's been a little bit more solid,
Okay.
right? So it's more solid than what it was. So I can see some change as far as like in his stool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it's gotten better, because before it was complete, diarrhea.
Got it.
But now it's like a mix. But I would say more on the solid side compared to being diarrhea. But
Yeah.
there has been some progress, right? So thank God for that.
Yeah, no, thank God for that. And what's crazy is typically when a dog goes through that kind of trauma, right? The first thing like a dog would die from, just like a human, is dehydration. And that's why I kept telling you, like, man, if he's drinking, that's good, And then he's drinking water has zero calories, right? And that's why he has low energy, lethargic, and that's why I was like, look, you can do Pedialyte, you can add sugar into his water,
Right.
because
Hmm.
sugar is instant. It's instant energy. It's not the most nutritious thing, but however, it gives him that vibrance of energy, right? It's easily digestible. Sugar goes right into your bloodstream. It's a quick processing thing that goes straight in where your body doesn't have to digest it in order to reproduce the energy from glucose. And even though it's not the healthiest at that point of time where he was at least he's getting some energy that he can use to recover, right? Because he's not holding anything down. And that's I've had dogs with parvo. I have dogs with rabies. I mean, name it, man. I've had a dog swallow a 2x4 with nails. Like
Come on.
it sucks. There's no other way to put it. And that's why when you reached out to me, I was just like, man, I was like, let me pray on this. We'll get through this, man. I'm gonna give you what I got, and knock on wood, he's getting there. Right?
Exactly. And that advice definitely helped as far as like even like the water, right?
Yeah.
Putting that brown sugar in the water.
Yep.
it helped him, right? And at first he wasn't keeping down the blended, but after a while he was able to keep down some, right? So that was able to, you know, give him enough nutrients, you know, so he wouldn't fade away until he
Exactly.
started to eat, right? So I appreciate you giving me that advice as far as like feeding him and blending the food, right? Because that helped, you know, to keep him. Because even like with the turkey base, he had to take down some of that. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
he's at least getting something. Um, I know we have a road ahead of us, but that was able to help, right, to get him where he's eating a little bit on his own now. So uh,
That's
I appreciate
amazing
that.
news, by the way. And the thing was, like, when he wasn't eating, the problem is, one, he's getting no nutrition, right? He's getting no calories in. And the positive is, like, he's lost so much weight that he can't turn calories from fat, right? So you're going to cannibalize fat calories first. And then after that, you're going to cannibalize muscle calories. And then when you're out of those two, you're on the deep end now, right? And since the dog cannot eat, how can we get any form of calories for this dog to convert into energy? And that's when you told me that he was drinking water. I'm like, cool. At least there we have a point where we're not going to give him the healthiest option, but it's going to be an option versus zero. And that's why I said, the brown sugar, unrefined brown sugar with the water, he's going to get that glucose, sugar energy to provide him something versus nothing. And I'm glad that he's eating now. It is a road, and you're going to have to just be careful. But man, I'm so happy that we're not having the other conversation,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
For you guys who are listening to this, watching this, um, I want to say a special thank you to my guest right here, Lemuel, right?
Lamel.
Lamel, okay.
Yep. Hmm.
He actually messaged me on Insta and was like, "You should do an episode on this." And I
Exactly.
and I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right." And what I said back to him is, it would mean more to me if you actually came on as a guest and talked about it, because I'm a person that you reached out to and I was trying to help. You're the person that's actually going through it. It's not just the money and expense for medicals, but it's also that emotional and mental hardship, and like a dog, that cost of attachment, that dog becomes part of your family. And if you have a wife or kids or yourself even, you don't feel good about that, and you're thinking you're trying to do something better for the dog, and then it went sideways, right?
Hmm. Exactly.
And so for you guys that think I'm crazy, every 2 weeks I grind about 400 or 500 pounds of food, right? And I always drop the episodes, even if it's a short 5-7 minute one, because sometimes someone didn't watch it 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So I'll touch on it every 2 weeks because I feel it's very important, right? We invest so much money in these dogs and the care, and then we go into, well, what's the best nutrition, right? And it's not just giving them whatever. Like, that's why I grind. Like, people say, like, man, you're a crazy person. You went and bought this grinder, and you spent almost your whole Saturday running errands, grinding food, and then freezing it and adding all these supplements. But for me, I'm scared of that situation happening to me. I could be lazy, or you want to call it lazy or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, just chuck them quarters. Let's go. Right? I want to go out on Saturday, have fun, have a good time. But, the dog thing is a part of my life. And these are almost like my extended family. And so I'm like, I can't just give it that to them. What if they choke on it? I'm like, I can't. I lost your volume. Can you speak up real quick?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, good. I thought I lost your volume. Sorry about that. But that's exactly why I grind. And they're like, well, why do you grind it for? They can eat it. Once the dog's adult teeth come in, the throat part is big enough to swallow it. I'm like, yeah, okay. I am not willing to take that chance. The amount of money and time I put into my dogs and investment and research, I can't do it. Like, I won't, you know. Someone else may take that chance, but I will not do that. It's not worth it to me. I owe my dogs that to me. It's oof. Anyhow,
Yeah.
you getting me rattled up tonight, man.
I know, man, but you speaking truth though.
No, I so appreciate you, man. And even after we talked, right, I would like, man, I haven't heard from you, right? And I'd hit you up on Insta and be like, hey, are you good? What's the update? You know, and you're like, he's getting better. And then next time I hit you up, he's getting better. And I'm like, cool, because it's like the reality is whatever help I can give you is one thing. The other thing is me calling people and see what else we can do. And that is the beauty of like this whole social media thing is we get connected, man, and we can help each other, right?
That's right.
People use this for platforms to troll or whatever else, or you can use it to help people and connect and make friends. I choose that way and to tell the truth of things, because it's kind of weird in the industry where people they tell you half truths, right? They sell you the dream, don't they?
That's so true.
They dangle it, the sparkling and and you're like, oh man, yeah, anybody could do it. I got a house, I got a yard, I love dogs, right? Because who doesn't get into this that doesn't like dogs? That's your step one entry of admission is if you love dogs and specifically anything around this breed, that's the whole reason you would even watch the channel, right? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great guys that provide awesome content out there. But my thing is, I'm gonna cover things like I'm not just gonna recycle, regurgitate what someone else says. I'm gonna tell you it from my side and be open about my yard and talk about these things so that it can help somebody else. Because that's what I didn't get when I got into it. And so I want to dispel some of those, half truths, let's call them, or, it's part of a truth, but that's not the full truth. And there's probably, I do have people that do not like me, and I'm okay with that because I feel that I'm providing quality information. And so if you don't like it, it's what are you hiding, right? I'm not hiding nothing. I'm gonna tell it for what it is, and if it ruins the narrative of what you're telling someone else, well, I'm sorry. You should have told them the truth, right? And then that way we can operate from a central ethical standpoint where we can all grow together and help each other. Because we all have different talents, and there's probably something that you're really good at that if I ran into that issue, I could reach out to you and you'd be like, nah, man, bro, ABC, 1, 2, 3, boom, I got you, right? Easy, breezy, lemon squeezy, as they say. So anyway, guys, this was a very special episode to me because this is an episode born out of the episodes that we do and connecting with a genuine person over one thing, and then out of something else, we started connecting and growing a friendship and a connection. And I'm glad, knock on wood, we're not in the clear yet. However, it's better than where we were, right?
That's right. Exactly. Much better.
And so, we started this platform to document our journey. It grew to become a platform where we can help and share information. With the grace of God, our platform has also become a place where we made genuine connections and friendships. And that's awesome to me because now if I'm in your area, I'm like, hey, are you busy, brother? Man, I'm in town for the weekend, right? Let's see the dogs, right? Because we're all dog people anyway. And it's nice to have that. And, for as much as some people don't like what I talk about on the show, I probably have double the amount of people who thank me. And I'm okay with that, man. And that really helps fuel this channel grow and to have better production, to have better topics, to bring on more people so that as a community, man, we could do better by each other. We've helped a lot of people. A lot of people have helped us. And it's amazing. I'm just like, wow, look at all this free help that you can get just by connecting with people and being genuine, right? Ultimately, couldn't be happier with what this channel has become, and we'll look forward to what it'll turn into and grow. Man, brother, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really do. Thank you.
The saying is like, how do you, what's the best translation I can give you is that when you help someone, it actually, it's the biggest gift you can give to yourself because it feeds your heart, right? Is that correct?
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like when you truly help someone
Absolutely.
and then you see them grow, flourish, or whatever it is, that hardship they're dealing with, and you see them triumph over that, you know, it it's so fulfilling within yourself that you were able to help someone that way, right? And I just don't know how to equate it the best way in the translation. But if you haven't done it, do it. Go help somebody out that's really in need, and there's something that that can help this person, and you see them going through that struggle, and then when they're starting to come out of it, man, and you see that smile and that light and that glow and that energy, you know, then you're like, wow. Even if that person just kept walking and never said thank you to you, that satisfaction within yourself is there's no words for it. There's no money, there's no monetary exchange that's worth the value of that. So if you guys haven't experienced that yet, definitely do it. I invite anybody in our community to come on the show. Anything where it's a positive contribution. I don't care that you don't like me or you disagree with what I say. As long as we can talk about it and our viewers will benefit, it's not about me being right or wrong at all. It's about helping. So if you have something that's a better resource than me, man, jump on here and let's go. You'll be helping me. You'll be probably helping 100, 1,000 other people and don't even know it, right? Like, gosh, man, they're so, the brethren of this community, is, I really like it, man, because you'll meet some really good people and you'll be connected by the passion of the dogs. And guys, if you haven't already, please tap in, like, subscribe, drop a comment. You want me to talk about something? Please do. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, and I'll bring somebody that does know. And that's the goal, right? Is to create this library of this journal where we can all just watch it and be like, you know what? What do we got here? And there's other great channels out there. I'm not saying we're the best ones. I'm saying what we give is truth. That's all I can give you is what I know and what I know to be true, right? And man, this episode is truly inspired by you. When you said I should drop this one, I said, you know what? Absolutely. And you should come on with me. Isn't that what I asked you?
100%. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because I can't, I can't translate what it feels like if I'm not going through that at the moment, right? It's That's like right. Everyone watching this channel has lost a loved one, a mother, a father, a grandfather, grandmother, hopefully, knock on wood, not a child or a pet. But we all know that the series of events leading up to it, when it happens and after it happens, so we can all relate in that term, right? Of loss, of suffering, of pain. And that's what I mean by this. It's, if we could just give out information to prevent it, right? To be have preventive measures versus being reactive, and it costs us grief and money. That's all we're trying to do, and that's why you always see me grind. I could not grind, but I grind anyway because I can't stomach it, man. I don't want to, and I've been through that. Is there anything that you could share with our viewers that can help them in your experience?
Well, the main thing, as far as like in my experience, is don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, there's people out there that know more than we know, that are, willing to help us along our journey. Right. So don't be afraid to speak on what you don't know. Right. And I think that's important as well. Finding someone that you can connect with, someone that you might look up to that might be able to help you avoid some of the pitfalls, right? Some of the things are unavoidable, but certain things, when you get a mentor or somebody that you might look up to, they might be able to, let you know of some of these landmines or some of these pitfalls, right? That can help guide you along the way. Another thing is, uplifting one another. We need to do the best we can to make sure that we're uplifting one another, encouraging one another. I think that's extremely important as well. Educate yourself as much as possible, right? Because one thing that Earl mentioned as well, I mean, these are like family members, right? So we want to educate ourselves as much as possible, so we're not putting our dogs at harm, right? Because those of us that have kids, you would never want to put them in danger or put them at harm, right? We look at them in the same way. Like, I mean, my boy, he's like family, right? So watching him go through that, it was extremely difficult, right? And I beat myself up over it as well. I'm like, man.
Right? Like you felt like it was your fault, right?
100%.
Like, why did I do that? Why didn't I think of that? Why did I?
I'm telling you, I still do it now, right? When I look at him, I tell him, hey, I'm sorry, right? Because I am responsible, right? Not just Phil, I am responsible because he's my responsibility, right? So I just thank God that we're able to, like you said, we're not in the clear, but got past that part where it was looking really dire, right? So I thank you for that, for being open, because not everybody that you reach out to is going to respond, right?
I was actually like sad, like when you reached out to me and I started giving you stuff and we were chopping it up, right? And then I wouldn't hear from you from a couple of days. I'm like, man, this brother hasn't reached out to me. I got to hit him up. I'm like, man, how's he doing?
I appreciate that. It was getting pretty crazy. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I was just like, I hope it's not what I don't want it to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you would hit me up and then be like, hey, we're making progress. And that was like, okay, cool. I got you. It was good for me. It was very good for my soul, and that's why I always tapped in with you like that.
No, I definitely appreciate that. For real. So, yeah. And you pretty much nailed it. I mean, there's not much more I can add on to what you said. I mean, you nailed a lot of great points, right, that are going to help out a lot of people.
Yeah, listen, guys, man, to be honest, that raw stuff, man, number one, man, grind it. Yes. It's good for them. Don't get me wrong. Everything that you're giving your dog, for example, and I'm not bashing kibble, but you buy kibble, it's 50 to 70% filler, right? When you feed raw, it's 100% bioavailable. They're getting the full nutrition. That means you can feed less and they get more nutrition, right? But there's a caveat: grinding it. Mm-hmm. So you don't have this kind of issue. and for you guys that are in my market, Chicagoland market, I grind every 2 weeks. Put in your order. You don't have the time, you don't have the grinder, you don't have the setup. Hit me. Tell me how many you need. I got you. That simple, And again, every 2 weeks I grind 400 or 500 pounds. I spend 5, 6, 7 hours a day, every other Saturday, and package it because that's what my dogs eat. I'm going to do it regardless whether you order or not. And for those of you who do order from me, thank you very much. I appreciate you supporting the family. That's what we're here for, man. I'm here to bring good stuff for you and for you guys to support me so that we can all grow as a community. With that said, I think we covered everything, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
If one of our guys wanted to reach out to you on Insta, right? What is it?
Lemel Bledsoe. LEMUELBLEDSOE.
There you go. If you want to reach out to him, if you're going through something like this, or knock on wood, you don't have to, or if you are, my man right here is going through it, and he's we're getting there. Right. If you reach out to me, I appreciate you. I'm going to help you. But Lemel is going through this. So if you're going through the same thing, this is the guy that can guide you better than me. And that's my goal, is to, ultimately grow this channel so we could bring on smarter people than ourselves. I want to bring on guests where I'm the dumbest person in here. That's my goal. I'm not in here to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm here to be the dumbest guy in the room. To bring in a veterinarian, a repro specialist, a nutritionist, people that are high level in their field, been in their field 10, 15, 20, 25 years who are really, really specialists, right? But in order for us to do that, we got to spend some money to get them on here. And you guys supporting this channel, this is what you're contributing to. This is the cause so that everyone can get free information from people who are smarter than us. And then that way we can grow and up our game. And then we can share that with others so that as a community, we raise the profile of our breed and ourselves as breeders. So with that said, guys, Earl at Sumo Bully Kennels back at you with an impromptu with my guy Lamel. If you haven't already done so, guys, you're not a gentleman. Tap in. You shook my hand in the beginning of the episode. Go ahead and subscribe, like it, share it with somebody. Brother, thank you so much. If I'm ever in your neck of the woods, I will hit you, and I'd love to, grab something to eat with you or something, man. All right.
Sounds great. Sounds like a plan, brother. Appreciate you,
man. Tapping out tonight. Until the next one, guys. Take care. Have a good week.